Greetings, it's an honor to be with you today. And today I want to talk about the only true God. The only true God. I'm reading today from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verses 1 to 11, but we're going to take our time because I want to go verse by verse. And it reads, Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. Now, let me stop there for a minute. I'm sure some of you are familiar with this passage. This is the passage we typically go to when we are basically talking about the Christmas tree. I'm sure you've heard many preachers and believers use this passage, and it's a good passage. And to prove the point, verse 4, listen to what verse 4 says. It says, They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. It says, They are upright as the palm tree. Sound familiar? It says, But speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. Now, if you look at the tone of the scripture, it goes from describing the tree. Of course, it says, stands like a palm tree, is fastened with hammers and nails. And then it says, Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Then it says, Neither also is it in them to do good. It says, For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. So we see here, and the reason why I'm pointing this out is we normally use this to we use this as an argument to tell people Christmas trees are pagan, you shouldn't be putting them up, and that is absolutely correct. This scripture goes into great detail, and I'm going to get into some more detail in a minute. But I want you to see what this scripture is really about. Although it can be used as an argument against the Christmas tree, there is a deeper meaning here. What God was saying via Jeremiah was that he wanted to discourage the people from making idols. And it's amazing. Oftentimes there are things that we erect and we put up in our lives and we tolerate them. And what we don't understand, although you may be saying this for decoration, it's for fashion, what it becomes is an idol. Whether it's a Christmas tree or not, it becomes something that substitutes the place of God in our lives. And that can be anything, ladies and gentlemen. It can be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be a wife, a husband, a child, a job. Anything can become an idol and an opposition to the worship of God in your life. But I want to go a little further. It says, Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it appertain. For as much as among all the wise men of the nations and all their kingdoms, there was none like unto thee. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities. Now listen to this now. It says, Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz, the work of the workmen, and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of cunning men. But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God and an everlasting King. At his wrath the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation. Thus shall he say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth and from under these heavens. So we see a roundup here, and it's causing us to know via Jeremiah's writings to Israel by God's unctioning. We are able to also take from this and understand that all of these things, it talks about tapestry, it talks about gold. It even mentions the kingdoms. Who will not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it appertain. For as much as among all the wise men of the nations and in all their kingdoms. We've got to understand that all of these things are subject to the only true God. Why is this important? Because if we're not careful, we can be erecting idols and things that take the place and the worship of God. And it can happen innocently. All of a sudden, your affections start to cling to this thing. And for example, you can begin to love your job more than you love your relationship with God. And you may say, how is that possible, minister? I can't fathom that. Well, you can give more time to your job and give none to God. Or you will begin to see that the time that you would give to God, it pales in comparison to what you give to other things. And these things are places that we've got to consider, and we've got to understand that nothing, he says that we should have no other gods before him. It's one of the basic 10. And anything, all things are competing for your affection and your worship. Why is all this is important is because I believe that we wrestle against one of the greatest idols that is in opposition to God. And you look at it in the mirror every day. Yourself. And I believe that's why when Jesus, after he began to tell his disciples what would happen to him at the coast of Caesarea Philippi, we remember that one of the things he said to them is, if any man is going to come after me, let him deny himself. Self-denial is so important. It encompasses so much that helps us to be in subjection, and daily maintenance causes us to remain in subjection to the will of God. Because we've got to understand that within this flesh dwelleth no good thing. The spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy. In other words, there is a war going on, ladies and gentlemen, and your appetite, your flesh, your belly can be the greatest God that you wrestle against. And right now, we all have that wrestling match going on. Your desires want to take center stage and take the shine and the glory from God. But I want to encourage somebody to understand, even as God instructed Jeremiah to reiterate to the people, don't learn the ways of the heathen. There is only one true God. Don't allow your belly, don't allow your affections, your lusts to be the recipient of your worship. Your worship belongs to Jesus alone. So I want to encourage you. Jesus is the only true God. So let's worship him.